The botanical name for that was alphabet soup.
Hey, let's talk about something important. You guys been out doing any fishing lately? From Pinky Winky to Pinky Winky Prime. Work? What
Shut
are
up,
you
Mark.
guys?
He's laughing at the name.
Pinky Winky. Good morning, Northwest Arkansas, and all of our friends out there in America. This is Rockwell Farms Garden Show. My name is Mark.
And I'm Josiah, and you're listening or watching to Two Nuts on a Tree. We appreciate you joining us. Today, we've got a really good show. Have you ever wondered or had questions about how to take care of your hydrangeas, your most common problems? Maybe problems like how to change their color if they do change color, pH in the soil,
Where to put them,
sun, shade, what's happening with my hydrangeas, why are they not blooming? Well, today we're going to answer all of those questions.
Josiah's always been our hydrangea expert here at Rockwell Farms, and it's not been one of my fortes, I'll be honest with you.
Well,
I don't know why. It's just never stuck with me.
Well, it's something that definitely something to have a passion for. All the hydrangea, there's a community of hydrangea nerds.
Yeah, that's why I
You
got
know?
my secret weapon coming.
Yeah, well,
We got a secret weapon. Guest speaker, Sandy.
Oh, okay,
Yeah,
yeah.
she's going to cover me today. Yeah.
Awesome. Love Sandy.
Yeah,
Awesome.
I came prepared.
You know, what started my hydrangea kick was maybe it was about 7 years ago. It was before I was here. I was working on a landscape job, and there was this hydrangea, and it was in the way. And I thought, okay, well, you know, I'm pruning everything else. I'm going to cut that back too. And I had a very upset customer, and I thought I was pretty ignorant then for hydrangeas. I thought,
you
well,
pruned
it's a shrub.
too
It'll
early.
grow back. So, you know, instances like that, mistakes happen. Instances like that, though, from that point on, I thought, okay, I need to know about hydrangeas. Okay, so I started.
Especially if you want to get paid.
Yeah, no kidding. She ended up having grace for me, but you know, I thought, okay, this is something that I need to know about, so I don't make this mistake again.
All right.
And so from then on, I just kind of started getting books here and there, and taking off from there, and it became a love for hydrangeas. So.
All right, enough of your reminiscing. Let's get on the time to apply. All right, it is time to apply your pre-emergent. I tell you what, Bonite has really good pre-emergent in the shaker. It's called the Bonite Crabgrass and Weed Preventer. I like it because you just shake on your annuals and perennials, and you will not have weeds that year. It's a very good product, and it also keep crabgrass out. Another one that'll keep crabgrass out is your high-yield crabgrass and weed preventer. All you do is use 4 pounds per 1,000 square feet. One bag will treat 3,000 square feet and gives you 4 months protection. Another one, if you have big yard, the Howard Jones Big Yellow Bag. It's a 50-pound bag. It covers 18,000 square feet. So those are your 3 weed preventers that you should have already had put down, but please put it down now if you haven't yet. Post-emergent, that is after the weeds have come up. Weed-free zone is the number one that we use here in the springtime. Reason being is because it works down to 40 degrees. Do not use 2,4-D. It won't work right now. Use that weed-free zone, 2 ounces per 1,000 square feet. You'll be glad you did. 5-star fescue, blended 5 different grass seeds just for our zone 6A. It's really nice because with the 5-star fescue, your entire lawn will look green. You will not have Bermuda here, Bermuda there. Entire lawn look like Elvis Presley lawn. So 5-star fescue, Biotone. Biotone is the number one that you want to put down before you plant your vegetable garden. All you do is till it into lower 4 to 6 inches of your garden. And Biotone has all the mycorrhiza and beneficial bacteria that you will need for that season.
Oh yeah.
Don't forget your Crown Jewel. Crown Jewel Grow is the number one organic fertilizer for your vegetables coming up, okay? It's what we use. We don't use anything else. Crown Jewel will, yeah, it's pretty much the jewel of all crowns. Vegetable seeds. Make sure that you do your vegetable seeds, including herbs. Now's the time to plant your vegetable seeds. Make sure you have your Fertilome seed and cutting mix, and also your liquid seaweed. Those 2 items are key to making your seeds germinate for this coming spring. Here at Rockwell Farms, you buy all 3, and we give you a free 50-count seed tray, so that's pretty cool.
Definitely.
Copper fungicide. Time to apply your copper fungicide. Keep you from having your peach leaf curl on your peaches and fire blight on your apples. Peach leaf curl for all your fruit tree growers. And also here at Rockwell Farms, if you buy 3 trees, we give you 20% off on that furlong tree and shrub food.
And we plant for free. Yeah.
You do.
Oh, yeah.
You
That's
do.
good. Yeah, I do.
Yeah. All right, what's next?
All right. Why don't we
Comments.
get into the comment section?
Comments. I don't have comments. I got 3 comments.
Well, keep in mind if you're out there listening or watching, these comments, these come from viewers like you. If you have gardening questions or maybe a comment about a segment that we did or something, you can comment down below. We answer those questions on the show.
Positive comments only.
Yeah.
All right, I have 3 comments, actually questions. Mildred says that her peaches are suffering from peach leaf curl. They have been for the past 2 years.
Okay.
And so she's struggling with it. And so, Mildred, timing is everything. Copper fungicide is going to be your best friend.
Yeah.
The way peach is right now, you're just now starting to see that bud. Spray it now when that the leaf buds of your peaches are just like this. And then when that whirls out, spray it again. You have to spray it twice, and you have to get it early. Once at the bud stage and once at what we call the whirl stage. And that will keep you from having peach leaf curl this coming year. You got to stop the cycle.
Yes.
Stop the cycle. Tommy, what is the best fertilizer for seedlings? Seaweed. By far, seaweed.
That's good, yeah.
Little trick is you can use a 10% solution of seaweed to soak your seeds in. And then what you're doing, you're imbibing that not only water but fertilizer into that seed coat. And then when it germinates, it's feeding off that seed coat. And then you use liquid seedweed all through its growing stage until it's ready to be transplanted.
Yeah, also if you have, because there's some seeds that are a lot harder to sow because they're so small.
Mm-hmm.
On those seeds, what I do is I go ahead and sow them into our plug trays or whatnot, and then I my first watering in is actually with that solution.
Okay, well that leads us into Jane. She says, "What's the best environment and method for seed germination?"
Oh, wow.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I use the Fertilome seed and cutting mix, and I use that 50-count tray.
Mm-hmm.
And what I've experienced, especially on my pepper seeds, because here's a little rule: the hotter the pepper, the longer it takes for that seed to germinate.
Wow.
Okay?
Yeah, that's
Do you agree with that?
very true. I've never thought about that, but yes.
Yeah. So like your bell peppers, they'll come up 7 to 14 days, but there are some peppers it will take 4 to 5 weeks.
Habanero, Carolina
Takes a long
Reaper,
time.
yeah.
So, like I said, you'll want to soak those in the 10% solution of seaweed, and then fertilize it with the same seaweed after it's germinated. But the best environment for those really hard ones is you want to soak them first, and then use that Fertilome seed and cutting mix. And what I do is that on that 50-count tray, which we give away when you buy all 3, cover it with what's it called that you cover your food with?
Cling
film.
wrap.
Yeah, cling wrap.
Yeah, yeah.
I just cover the seed tray with cling wrap, and what that does, it gives you 100% moisture content in the air. It's real humid, keeps it humid.
Yeah.
And therefore, my seed germ, it just increases. You change that 4 to 5 week into a 2 to 3. It is astronomically good. So just cover it with that. After they germinated, take it off, because your seedling will start to grow and hit that film and then be crooked. So that's, in my opinion, that's the best method, because you not only increase the humidity around that seed, but you also keep it at a certain degree temperature, keep it warmer. It kind of insulates that moisture, that temperature in there. And 70 degrees is perfect for your hard to germinate seeds, like your peppers.
That's great.
Got anything to add to that?
No.
Okay.
No. Well, temperature. Well, yes, I do. Temperature on some of those. You're going to need a warmer soil temperature. So, like last week, we talked about lavender and peppers. They are going to need a higher temperature. Corn also needs a higher soil temperature. So, keeping those things in mind, if you are sowing indoors, on the back of your seed packet, that will give you the best information. Just pay attention to the back of your seed packet, and it will tell you on soil temperatures for the most part if something really is important for that. And you can change that by maybe a heat lamp or one of those warming pads that you can buy fairly cheap under your seed trays. But yeah.
All right. Let's get into hydrangeas.
Okay.
I'm excited.
Me too.
All right. Hey, call up my
yeah.
secret weapon. Call up Sandy. Oh, yeah. Call up Sandy.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome.
She's the brains behind. Sandy is the guru expert at Proven Winners shrubs. Mm-hmm. You know, just like it says there.
Yeah,
Proven Winner.
Right there.
Color choice flowering shrubs.
Hey guys.
Hey.
Oh, yeah.
Hey, Sandy. How are you doing?
All right.
Good. How are you guys doing?
Oh, good. How's the weather up there?
It is beautiful up here. Our snow melted.
Oh,
the sun's
good.
shining. It's going to be 55 today.
Woohoo.
Yeah. Well, tell everybody where you're at. What state are you in?
I am in Michigan,
Yeah.
and I am in a little town called Zealand.
No,
Wow.
sounds cold.
We're about 20 miles west of Grand Rapids.
Okay.
Wow. So, well, hey, Sandy, today's show is all about hydrangeas, everything hydrangea. And so y'all do have beautiful hydrangeas up there.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, absolutely.
All
There's
right.
pretty much beautiful hydrangeas anywhere you go in our country.
Yeah, and so you're on the show to save my bacon, okay? Because hydrangeas is one of my weak points. All right, Sandy.
Okay, no problem.
We'll carry him, Sandy. Okay.
And this is one of the reasons. One of the reasons I love Proven Winner color choice shrubs is I just called her this morning.
Yeah.
I said, Sandy, you got to save my bacon. And she's busy. Okay, she's a busy woman, and she's taking time out for our show.
Oh, that's amazing.
So I'm going
I
to
always have time for you guys.
Oh, you're sweet.
Yeah. Well, you just
You mean me?
yeah. Everybody loves Josiah.
Hey, let's talk about something important. You guys been out doing any fishing lately?
Oh yeah, baby. I went out last week. Yeah, Roaring River.
Okay.
I
Yeah,
took
he has.
Joshua. I took Joshua out there, and it's opening day, so everybody's like shoulder to shoulder to get that big lunker. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
I call it combat fishing. Okay, so
you bet.
Joshua's out there casting, you know, and he'll pull in one, and I don't fish. All I do is I'm taking his fish off, and I hand him another pole.
There you go.
You know,
That
Sandy,
sounds good.
somebody's got to watch the nursery when he's gone for a week. So
Yeah. I'm sorry, Josiah.
Yeah.
I figured that you were back there working.
you got to
Yeah,
rub that in.
You can't count on me. Okay, hey, what we want to do is go down the list of some of the favorite hydrangeas, and
Yeah.
I think I sent you a list of some of the ones that we carry, and then you comment on what you like about them and so forth.
Oh, yeah. That's
Yeah.
great.
Okay,
You bet.
Kim, I first, in all honesty, I want to go through some of the different. What's the difference, like the hydrangea arborescens? What? And the I want to know the difference between that and your microphylla and your paniculata and the quercifolia.
Yeah, sure. I can give you a quick little tutorial on that if you'd like me to.
Yeah.
So the macrophylla hydrangeas, or big leaf hydrangeas, sometimes they're called, those are the ones that you see that are in either the pinks or the blues in the landscape.
Okay.
Definitely.
Okay, so those are the ones that, you know, if it's blooming pink in your landscape, you can actually change the color to blue
Yeah.
by adding some aluminum sulfate.
All right.
Those typically are gonna bloom kind of midsummer, and usually, unless it's one of the new crosses out there, they're gonna bloom, you know, once, and then that's pretty much gonna be it. These are also the varieties that you have to be really careful when you prune them, because the
Definitely.
flowers bloom on old wood, which means that the flower buds are being created the summer before they actually bloom. So if you prune it in the spring, you just cut off all the buds for that year.
Yeah,
So,
Josiah learned that the hard way on a landscape.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. And we actually have pruning for all of these. So,
So that's the macrophylla. Tell me about the paniculata.
Yep. So the paniculata, those are the ones that are gonna bloom either cream or white. They're going to be more pointed at the end.
Yes.
And they're gonna either stay white or they're gonna finish off in the fall like a really varying shade of pink,
Now
all the way from blush to dark like a punch color. Those are really, really hardy. They can take full hot sun.
Yes.
And they can be, we offer those anywhere from a tiny quick fire, which is about 1.5 feet tall, all the way up to a limelight, which, can be up to 12 feet tall. So lots of options.
They have big heads, don't they?
They do. They do.
Okay.
And puffer fish, one of our newer ones, that one has.
Love it. Yes.
Yeah, it's the best. That one has flower panicles the size of footballs. No lie.
Puffer fish. Who thought of that name?
It's a beautiful one. It is absolutely
It is.
beautiful. Now the panicle, that's a really good one for those that are don't have a green thumb. They
Yes.
that aren't good at keeping up with the landscape. That's
Correct.
Any of those varieties are absolutely wonderful.
All right. What about quercifolia?
Yep. So the quercifolia or oak leaf hydrangeas,
Yeah.
those are the ones that are going to have the leaves on those are the shape of an oak leaf.
Yeah.
And they are going to have the stunning fall foliage color,
Bright
that deep
red.
burgundy color.
Uh-huh.
Flowers can be lace cap, which is a more airy look. They can be more of a tight, like a panicle. And they can be white. They can also age to pink depending on the variety. So those are quite popular because of that fall foliage show.
Yeah, and they get huge.
They can get huge.
Yeah.
We have a new one called Glow Ball that does not get as big. That just came out. That's about a 4 foot tall one. But the other ones are quite large, about 8 to 10 feet.
Wow. All right. And the fourth one would be the arborescence.
Yep, the arborescence, that's otherwise known as a smooth hydrangea. Those are going to be your original hydrangea, which would be an Annabelle hydrangea. That's the original smooth hydrangea. Those are going to be the big, giant, ball-shaped flowers. Those are going to be white, or we do have a couple varieties that are going to be pink, and they're going to stay pink. The ones that are white are going to stay white.
All right.
And those, again, we have those in every size, from the wee white all the way up to the Incredible, which is very large, about 8 to 10 feet again.
Okay. Well,
so those are the 4 main varieties.
Let's start with the Hydrangea X. I mean, it has an X where the hybrid should be. What's the X stand for?
So that means that is a cross. It's been crossed with something. We don't necessarily, that information isn't.
Don't know where it came from. It's just a nice hydrangea.
Yeah. I was checking that out. Sorry, I was checking that out, and the botanical name for that, because normally we have like some Greek or Latin, the botanical name for that was alphabet soup. Yeah, it was very confusing.
Yeah.
So actually, the Hydrangea X, that is a 5th variety of, and there's many more varieties of hydrangeas, not just the panicle or the macrophylla. So the X is that's the new cascading variety of hydrangea. Those were developed by a gentleman in Japan. His name is Yoshio Sakazaki, and he developed. Hey, I think I did pretty good, guys.
That was good, man. That was
very
good.
Great execution on the pronunciation.
Thank you, Josiah.
Yes.
Also,
so the first one in that series is the Fairy Trail Bride, and that is that's a lace cap hydrangea. Again, that's the real airy look of the flowers, and then it literally will cascade. It looks beautiful in containers on your deck or in a hanging basket even. And there's been 3 new colors introduced to that: the Fairy Trail Fresco, green, and white. Yes. And those 3 are mop heads, but they do cascade. So a very interesting, beautiful new variety that we have.
So it comes up and cascades over with flowers. Am I correct?
Oh my goodness.
That is correct.
Yeah.
Yes.
So
Mhm.
this
Yeah.
one that one blew up last year. Just completely blew up. It was
Yes.
probably the number one hydrangea I was asked for, Sandy.
Really?
Yes, because it does so well in containers, pots, but it also does. We're in Northwest Arkansas, so we've got a lot
Yes.
of hills, retainer walls.
Yes.
Just has blown up in the garden world down here because of all the retainer walls, really, to kind of cascade
and
over.
it's just gorgeous.
Yes.
And so I will triple your order on that one.
Okay. Yes, ma'am.
She told me this show would cost me. All right, now a lot of these hydrangeas, like the fairy tale, are pre-budded. Now, because we have you don't see it right now, but we have some examples, 4 of them of Josiah's favorite, and each one of these are pre-budded. What does that mean, and what's the advantage of that?
Yes, so that is a program that we have for our customers at Spring Meadow Nursery, home of the proven winner Color Choice Shrub. So what we do is we have selected the best varieties, and those are what you would call forced to bloom earlier. They are trimmed at a specific time throughout the year and then allowed to start growing. So they think in the fall, they think that it's spring. And then we have, excuse me, we have an enormous walk-in refrigerator that these guys are held in, and then we ship them to you. Those were shipped to you in February.
Yeah.
And they will be in bloom earlier, so you could present one of those to your someone special for Mother's Day.
Yeah.
And that's gonna be in bloom for Mother's Day. And then it's because it's a it's not a florist quality hydrangea. Like, it can go out in the yard after they have enjoyed the flowers, and then it's going to resume its normal life cycle next year. So
now,
that's a program that we've developed to have something really nice and usable for our people who celebrate in May for Mother's Day.
Because I see a lot of our hydrangeas are pre-budded. So that way you can give your mom, or the one that you love, a blooming hydrangea on Mother's Day.
Correct.
To where your love just isn't on that one day.
Exactly.
And a lot of these
eternal.
are reblooming. You have your Let's Dance Blue Jangles, which is a reblooming hydrangea, so it blooms on old wood and new wood. So you're just going to keep getting blooms out of it as summer goes on.
Oh no, that's cool.
Yes. And same with the Skyview. That one is a rebloomer.
Tough stuff.
All right, don't get ahead of me, guys. Don't get ahead of me, okay? All right? And so the fairy tale comes on up. It has different colors. So it comes on up, cascades with all these blooms, and gives you a shower of blooms, right?
Yes.
Okay. So now I want to talk about the Incredibles.
Okay. Incredibles, yes.
Yes. Give me what's the difference between Incredible and the others?
Okay, so the Incredible, again, that's considered a smooth hydrangea, and those are the original Annabelle hydrangeas. Now you're gonna get like I said, either white flowers, or we do have a few varieties that are pink. Invincible Ruby would be an example. Invincible Spirit 2, which we donate $1 for every plant sold to breast cancer research.
Wow, yeah.
And then they have they'll have a giant ball-shaped flower head. So almost like the old-fashioned snowball bushes that you remember at Grandma's house.
Yeah.
Only much larger. Now these hydrangeas, they're able to be in hot areas such as where you guys are. But you want to try to keep them out of direct sunlight in the afternoon, because those flowers can burn a little bit in that hot direct sun in the afternoon.
So the best advice. Sorry to interrupt, but the best advice then.
No, you're fine. Just
to fine tune it, if someone were to go out at 3:00 at the summertime, and that's where the hottest part is, am I correct?
Yeah.
Would you agree with that? 3:00 sun. That's the hardest part of the sun during the day.
Yeah.
And that will tell you, just look at your shadow, and that will tell you where to put that hydrangea. All right.
Exactly. And these make great hedges. At our owner's home in his trial garden, he has, like a hedge of these guys 100 feet long, and it's absolutely stunning. Beautiful for cut flowers. If you like putting arrangements in your home, just stunning.
How tall of a hedge could it be? How tall?
It could get up to 10, 11 feet easily.
Whoa.
Nope.
Now the Annabelle hydrangea, this one is native to North America.
That is correct.
So
it is, yes.
I was actually driving out towards Beaver Lake through Garfield here in Northwest Arkansas. And in the summertime, they have these growing natively through the woods there. And they are absolutely beautiful. Yeah. So you can take out towards Garfield out to the lake. And we have them growing wild out there. It is just wonderful. I've often thought, I wonder if I could get away with digging a couple.
Oh my
of these
word! Park ranger.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's Josiah in the clink.
Yeah.
So that's the incredible. So go ahead.
Well, and so I also wanted to mention, Mark. I also wanted to mention that the original Annabelle is a beautiful hydrangea, obviously. And at Proven Winners Color Choice, we've improved on those genetics. So what you see in the newer varieties, like the
Stormproof,
Stormproof is the newest one to come out. Is when it rains outside, these guys do not flop.
That is huge.
Yeah, it's huge. Those flower balls are enormous, almost the size of a basketball, and when they get wet, they get heavy. But we've been able to work the genetics, and now they don't flop, so they're stormproof and beautiful in the landscape. Beautiful.
This is why I absolutely love Proven Winners.
Yeah. They think of the things that you don't think about.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah. So they're really preemptive on most everything, and it's just foolproof.
Now on Proven Winner Color Choice Shrubs website, they have a great article about demystifying hydrangeas. And so a common problem that people have is why aren't my hydrangeas blooming? And we'll get into some of that here a little bit later, but that will help you a lot, because oftentimes, when people come into the nursery, I'll ask, well, what kind of hydrangea it is, or when did you prune it, or sun, because there's so many. Not all hydrangeas are the same. They're all kind of different animals completely.
That is correct. And I'm trying to find help the people find out where that information is, because the number one question that my garden centers get is, why isn't my hydrangea blooming?
Yes.
And that is the number one question. And the reason is because different hydrangeas have a different time that it's appropriate to prune them or to prune them. So Proven Winners colorchoice.com, which is our consumer website.
Yep.
There's a link that says resources.
Great.
Well, Jessica's Jessica's going to put that link on right now.
Excellent.
Oh,
okay.
Yeah.
There you go.
Jessica.
Yeah. I mean, she's all over it.
And
You
the
don't
link
have to
will
do
be
it.
in description as well. So
Excellent.
We got you
great.
covered. So,
Great, and that will answer a lot of the questions that people have if their hydrangea isn't blooming.
Yeah, so if you're not catching it on the show, you can go to the link below or up on the top if she's got it up there. And that will really help you decipher and demystify your hydrangeas. They've got that. They've done all the hard work for you, okay?
Yes.
Okay, so to recap on your Incrediballs, they have the big head, sturdy stems.
Yes. Round, big round head.
And about how tall do they get overall?
So we have everything from the wee white, which is about 2 feet tall, up to the Incrediball, which can be about 10 feet tall. So there's different sizes within that range, depending on what you need in your landscape.
Okay, let's talk about Let's Dance.
Oh,
yes.
Yeah, he loves this one. Actually, I think he has Bojangles right here. And you know what? These pre-budded hydrangeas that you sent, they are perfect.
Yeah, oh my goodness.
They're just perfect.
I saw them before they left the nursery, and they were doing their thing.
Yeah, they're perfect.
Did you handpick these out for us?
No, we're not
Yes,
that special.
I did.
Oh,
I
my
did.
word.
Yes.
Oh, my word.
I love her.
Yes, I did, you guys.
All right. Let's talk about the Let's Dance. How come it's
Yep.
called Let's Dance?
So that's a series that Tim Wood and Megan Matai, Dr. LeCompte, there are plant finders, our plant breeders at Spring Meadow Nursery. They come up with the names, and I'm not familiar with the genesis of the Let's Dance line.
Mm-hmm.
I do know that there has been several hydrangeas that have come and gone from that line as they improve the genetics.
Mm-hmm.
The latest improvement is they've taken the macrophylla hydrangea and they've mixed it with what's called a mountain hydrangea or a serrata, which would be like a serrata would be your tough stuff hydrangeas. Those are mountain hydrangeas.
Yeah.
And the macrophylla sets buds on old wood, and the mountain hydrangea sets buds on new wood.
Okay.
So what they have come up with is a plant that no matter when you prune it, you're going to get flowers because it's going to bloom on old and new wood, and it's also going to continually rebloom. So those varieties are the Let's Dance Skyview, Let's Dance Ariba, and Let's Dance Can Do. Those three varieties are going to be strong rebloomers. We have Can Do in front of the office, and it blooms until we get a really hard frost. So we're still seeing flowers in October.
Now, the Let's Dance Can Do. Let's Dance Can Do. Now, that one blew me away last year because rather than just having blooms at the end of every stem, it actually had blooms going up the stem as well.
Mm-hmm. Correct. It sets buds up and down the stem.
Totally blew me away.
Yes.
Totally blew me away.
That's very unusual for a hydrangea, and somehow the breeders unlocked that formula to get that plant to bloom up and down the stem.
Now, when we're talking about blooms on old wood or blooms on new wood, what's really happening, just for the listeners out there, what's really happening is that hydrangea, if it's blooming on old wood, typically here in Northwest Arkansas, it's setting that bud around August for the next season. And so that will really help by figuring out what your hydrangea, when it sets its bud for the next season or for that season, on when to prune. That'll really give you a better idea on how not to damage your hydrangeas.
That is correct.
Okay.
That's a great point.
So those are all macrophyllas, and so that's the Let's Dance. My favorite would be the blue jangles because blue is so hard to get in the landscape.
Yes, yeah.
Yep.
All right.
And that's the easiest variety to turn blue. That is the easiest variety to turn blue.
I definitely
Any of
agree.
those Let's Dance can go either way with addition of aluminum sulfate to make them blue, but the blue jangles responds very well to that aluminum sulfate and will blue easier than the others.
Right.
Now, again, those out there listening that are wondering, okay, well, changing colors, the ones that you can change colors, like mostly your big leaves and some of your mountain hydrangeas, you can as well. With your pH for blue, generally around 5.5 and lower is best for your to get that good blue color. For pink, it's usually 7 and higher. If you're wanting to get a nice purple, right in between there, find a sweet spot with your pH.
Yep.
That's a great way to kind of choose your color.
And high yield has a really good soil sulfur that will not change your pH too fast, and it's inexpensive.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's great.
Just thought I'd throw that in there.
Yeah.
All right. Now also,
and you'd have to treat those every year.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wanting to keep
Yeah. And
check your pH and treat them every year if you wanted that blue.
And we have the rapid test pH meters, which I've used for years.
Yeah.
They're so simple. Stick it in the dirt.
Perfect.
It tells you pH. All right. Now tell us about the wee bits.
Yep. So that's another line that we started. We have Wee Bit Grumpy, Wee Bit Giddy, and what? And Wee Bit Innocent.
I'm just thinking about my wife. Okay. I mean, yeah. the term she uses on me. All right.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That's better.
You know, I'm the wee bit grumpy.
Wee bit
All right.
grumpy.
So go ahead. Sorry. Sorry. Yeah.
Yeah, so these are a little newer variety, and their claim to fame is their reblooming potential. They are going to rebloom because of their parentage.
Being a
They're
macrophylla.
also, pardon me.
Being a macrophylla.
Yeah, correct.
All right.
And also, the I'm trying to think which one it is. The grumpy will kind of show both colors on the flowers.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of leans either way. So of course the soil is going to make a difference. But you know, they're just a really pretty, colorful hydrangea to put into your landscape. The other reason why consumers are loving it is because they're small. They're
Yes.
only about 2 feet tall.
Yeah. Oh,
So, you know, a lot of people don't have large yards to landscape anymore. So they're looking for more of the dwarf varieties, and these fit that bill.
Would they work well in a container?
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
And,
Absolutely.
Also, last year we had people using these as border plants in their gardens.
Yep.
And they
Yes,
looked
because
phenomenal.
they are so petite.
Yeah.
Yes. Because they are so petite. Absolutely.
Hence the name Wee Bit.
Wee bit, exactly.
Just
Wee
a
bit
wee bit
lovable.
grumpy.
I'm sorry. Wee bit innocent, wee bit grumpy, and wee bit giddy.
Oh, good. We got all three of those. Good job, Josiah.
Yeah, thanks.
All right. Now let's get into the
good job,
paniculata.
Sandy. It's
Yeah.
good job, Sandy.
Yeah.
She's our source of brains.
Yeah.
All right, the paniculatas. Okay.
There's truth.
Yes.
Bo-
Paniculatas.
yes, Bobo Firelight. All right, tell us about there's a lot in that category. You have a lot
There's
of
so many paniculata hydrangeas, and that's the number one selling type of hydrangea in our entire line.
Why?
It's also the number one bestseller of the entire company. And we have over 350 different shrubs, you know, anything from roses to abelia to thuyas. But paniculata hydrangeas are the number one seller. Our top three in our whole company is Limelight, which is the original panicle hydrangea. And then Little Lime, which is very similar to Limelight, only much smaller. And then Bobo is number three. And you asked about Bobo, and Bobo is
Yeah, because I like the name.
yeah, I know, I love the name. I have a niece, her name is Zoe, we call her Bobo.
We had a dog. It was a miniature poodle, and his name was Major Bobo.
Aw,
Major Bobo.
Yeah.
that's awesome.
Now, again, for the paniculata, the any varieties of the paniculata, that's a plant you almost can't kill. I mean, they
That
just
is
grow
absolutely true.
so
Is that why it's the
wonderful.
number one seller? Why is
No,
it?
I just think because they're so beautiful. I mean,
Yeah,
and
definitely.
you know, if you're in the South, and you have full hot sun, this plant can take it. It can take it all the way down to Florida.
Yeah.
You know, so this is the one that, you know, if you've got an open yard without shade, this is the one you're going to put in. Now, these typically are going to bloom a little later in the season. The earliest blooming one we offer is Quick Fire Fab.
Yeah.
Um, And that one is going to bloom around the beginning of July, the first to second week of July. A lot of the other ones are going to bloom towards the end of July. And they're going to bloom until, you know, winter comes, frost comes, whenever that does in your part of the country.
So,
Go ahead.
Sandy, can you talk about my favorite one, the Pinky Winky? And
Oh,
then I
my
believe you
word.
have an improved variety, don't you?
Pinky Winky.
We do. We have the new Pinky Winky Prime.
Yes.
Yep. And the reason why this one was changed from Pinky Winky to Pinky Winky Prime is they did some work. What
Shut up,
are you
Mark.
guys laughing?
He's laughing at the
Behave
names.
yourself, Mark.
Yeah, I know. It's hard. Go ahead.
So
Pinky Winky.
So this new and improved variety is able to go all the way down to a zone 3. And for you folks in Arkansas, a zone 3 starts in Canada, I believe.
Yeah.
And then can go down to a zone 8. which we're talking about Florida, we're talking about Texas. So
That's a
this
huge
has
range.
a wonderful part. It's a huge range. It really is a huge range. The improved parts of this plant are the color. When it turns pink, it's gonna bloom as a off white, and when it starts to turn pink, it's gonna be a little richer pink. It's gonna be brighter. It's also considered a lace cap, and one thing I discovered is that the lace cap hydrangeas are easier for the pollinators
Absolutely. Yes.
to get in there
Yeah.
and do their thing, and so lace cap are actually a little better for the environment and for our pollinator friends.
Now, what people may also need to know is now on your panicle hydrangeas, these don't change color based off of pH. And so
That is correct.
there's a common confusion that if you get a white hydrangea, that you can change the pH. That's not true for your panicle hydrangeas.
Right.
They only get that color as the bloom spins or as it ages. The cells turn color. And so that's how you get like the pinky winky. Starts off kind of lime to white, and then you start to get that red pinkish color in it. That's just as the bloom spins. So just to help some confusion there.
See now.
Yes, and that also how pink they get. I found this interesting. Can depend on the temperatures at night.
Oh wow!
So up here in the north, when we can have a 45-degree evening in August, our pinks and our reds tend to be a little brighter than yours down south, because you're not getting the real cold temps at night.
Wow.
So that is one thing that will affect the pinking off of those blooms. Now, there's a couple that don't pink off.
Yeah.
Bobo does not pink off. Bobo's going to stay white. And then pufferfish, the one we were talking about earlier, that is probably my favorite. That one's going to stay white. It doesn't have anything in it telling it to turn pink.
See, that the reason why I wanted to start off with the difference as far as the arborescens, macrophylla, paniculata, and so forth, is because anybody can go to one of your proven winner tags, and I'm opening up one right now, and they can go right to the macrophylla of this blue jangles, and they know that they could change the color.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And they know the habit that it will be, old and new wood blooms and so forth. I love the tags that you have on each one of your plants.
They're very informative. They really help.
Yeah, they help a lot. Okay, let's get back to some of the paniculatas. You mentioned the Limelight Prime. It gets huge and has football-sized blooms, doesn't it?
So that's the pufferfish has the blooms that are the size of footballs, very large. Now, the Limelight Prime, that one has very large blooms as well. That one is actually what people are digging about that one is it stays at around 5 to 6 feet, and it has just a perfect V-shaped habit.
So it's smaller than the regular Limelight.
Yes, the regular Limelight is the biggest, and it's going to have very large panicles of flowers. That one, in the book, I think it says it gets 8 to 10 feet tall, but I've heard stories and seen it myself of, 12 feet tall easily. I have one out front.
Wow.
I have one out front that is 6 foot, and it's 3 years old, but we did prune it quite a bit last fall. And then the next one would be the Limelight Prime, which is going to be sitting at around, 6 to 8 feet. And then Little Lime would be the third one, kind of large, medium, and small. That one's going to be right around 5 feet tall. So you kind of have a choice. You're going to get very similar sized flower panicles, etc.
Now, your panicle hydrangeas, those actually do well with pruning and trimming because they bloom on new wood mostly. Is that correct?
New wood, yes, exactly.
And so, they bush out really, really well with a nice pruning. So those ones are great for pruning. If you
absolutely
are somebody that needs to get out there and start cutting things in the garden, get the paniculata.
Yes, because you can prune that in early spring before it starts to push out. You can easily prune it.
Okay, that makes sense because a lot of people will be out there in the spring determining what size of plant that they want.
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct.
So, okay, got
Absolutely.
it. Hey, there was a few years ago, I went to this amusement park that we have here. It's called Silver Dollar City. And I remember going across this bridge and I saw the biggest oak leaf hydrangea ever. It was when it cascaded over the bridge, and it must have been 12 to 15 foot tall. It was just
Wow.
It was beautiful. Yes. So, what hydrangea would be close to that if I had that type of environment?
Yeah, absolutely. Was it white,
Yes.
or had it pinked out, or no?
No, it was white. It was the old oak
was
leaf.
white.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Mhm.
So, there's a couple possibilities that it could have been. My guess, it was probably like a Gatsby Moon.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
So Gatsby Moon is going to be it has flowers the shape of panicle hydrangeas, so more of that cone shaped flower.
Yes.
It's gonna be white. It's gonna be tightly packed flowers. It can easily be 8 feet tall. It can take full sun. And of course, you're going to get that beautiful fall foliage color. The flowers on that are they're white, but when they first come out, they're more of a line. So that one's just a beautiful one to add to your landscape if you want something like that with that fall color.
All right. Unless Josiah has something to comment on, I want to go to the Serrata, the tough stuff.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So the tough stuff hydrangea, as you said, it is a mountain hydrangea, and that's where they were discovered. They were discovered in the mountainous regions of, I don't want to misquote, but I think it was in Japan, but I'm not 100% certain that I'm right on that. But
yes, it was Japan, and parts of Korea is where it's native to, and up in the mountains for sure. Yeah.
Perfect. So these are going to be a lace cap hydrangea, and that look is where you have the flower ball per se, and you're going to have blossoms and buds mixed on the same flower.
Is that the definition of a lace cap?
No, that's my definition of a lace cap.
We'll go with that. Yeah, we'll go with that.
One.
It will essentially have, you're exactly.
I just want people to know what a lace cap is.
Yeah, so your lace cap, it's going to have closed up buds, is what it looks like. You'll see closed up buds, and then on the outskirts of the flower, it'll have those little flowerets, and that's what attracts your pollinators. Is to the center of that flower. Just absolutely beautiful, different from like your mop head varieties or your panicle, where you have just that big head of blooms. But there are some varieties like your tough stuff aha that's reblooming, so it'll keep blooming through the season rather than throw blooms and spin. It'll just keep going.
Well, see, I like this because you have the blooms right on top of the foliage. It's like they're sitting on top of the foliage.
That is a great analogy, Mark. Yes.
Hey, there you go, one for me.
Yeah. And it will also show combination of colors, regardless of the soil. So I have a tough stuff aha, which is just a huge seller for us. And I do have it in a more of a shady spot, because if you think of the mountains, you think about how mountains are shady and cool. So I do have it in a shadier spot in my landscape, and I do see the different colors. I have pink, periwinkles, a little bit of blue. It just kind of is.
Wonderful. Wow.
It looks like a watercolor of different pinks and blues.
That's beautiful.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is beautiful.
Okay.
Yep.
All right. Anything else you want to say there, Josiah, while we have her on the phone?
Sandy, you are absolutely wonderful, and we are so thankful for you.
Well, thank you so much for inviting me. I just hope that I've helped some of your listeners. Some of your viewers get an idea of what hydrangea that they want to put in their yard, and there's so many varieties. And I always say, if you love it but you're not sure, buy it, plant it, and see what happens.
You're my kind. You're my kind of gardener. Yeah, I'm right there with you.
I tell
Well,
you
my
what.
husband doesn't really agree with you, but that's okay.
Yeah. Well, you're totally awesome. I've always appreciated your persona and how helpful you have been.
Well, I love working with you guys. You guys are amazing.
Okay. There you go.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Sandy, for joining us.
Okay, you guys have a wonderful day, and congratulations on your show. I think it's awesome. I listen to it every week.
Oh,
Hey.
wonderful. Thank you.
Hey,
Yeah.
we'll
You
mark
bet.
mark that down as 3 listeners.
There you go. Woohoo! Good new record.
Yeah.
Okay, take care, guys.
All right. You
Thank
as
you,
well.
Sandy.
Yeah,
That is-
bye.
Bye. That is so great. Hydrangeas, most of them actually, originate or are native to the North Americas and also Japan and parts of Asia. Asia, was that plural? Asia.
No, that's good.
Okay. And so, but yeah, getting hydrangeas, it can be tricky. Oftentimes we might start with maybe a panicle hydrangea and it does so well. So we think, okay, let's broaden our horizons. We go out, we get other hydrangeas and they're not all the same, even though you're doing the same you're treating them all the same. They're not the same. So some need more sun, some need more shade. And then also pruning. Pruning is can be such a tricky one. But yeah, we get people that come into the nursery and they, need help with trying to figure out why is my hydrangea not blooming.
So I want you to kind of recap on when to prune different varieties.
Sure. Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
Start with whatever, paniculata, whatever you want to.
Well, your 7 main types that we're talking about with your hydrangeas, you have your big leaf, which is your microphylla. You have your panicle hydrangea, which is your paniculata. You have your mountain hydrangea, which is your serrata hydrangea. You have your smooth hydrangea. This one is your hydrangea arborescens. And then you have your oak leaf hydrangea, which is your say that word.
Quercifolia.
Thank you. And then we got climbing hydrangea, which is your petrolaris.
Yeah.
But now that new one, there's one that we're adding to the list is the cascading hydrangea. And again, I'm not going to do the botanical name for that because it is alphabet soup. You can look it up and try it yourself. It's not going to work. So
Start with your big leaf. How would you prune that?
definitely. So your big leaf, these ones bloom on old wood. So like we talked about earlier, they're actually setting their bud late summer the year prior to that year. And so if you are pruning them after they have set those buds, you really want to leave them alone.
Well, that's a macrophylla. I
Yeah.
thought the macrophylla blooms on the old and the new wood.
So that is correct. You are right. So the older varieties of your big leaf hydrangea, your older varieties, those bloom on old wood.
Okay.
Now you do have improved varieties like your wee bit varieties or your Let's Dance blue jangles. Those are reblooming, so you will get on both. Really, though, with your big leaf hydrangeas, you don't really want to mess with those unless they have some dead. You can take the dead out,
Or they got too big.
or they got too big. Then you can certainly do it. But most of your big leaf, they're going to start from the base of that plant mostly anyway. And so my tip on your big leaf would be wait until they start to bud out in the spring and make your decision based off of them budding out, because you'll see what is dead and what hasn't filled out, and you can trim them.
Okay, so that's kind of like a crepe myrtle. We always wait.
Yeah.
Because crepe myrtles will die back every year.
Absolutely.
Right? And so we will trim right above, that the top bud of that crepe myrtle just to get the dead out. So is that the same mentality that people should have? So prune those in the spring when you start to see when you can gauge
when they've already when they've already got buds on them, you can prune those and you just want to be removing the dead for sure on those.
All right. Next one.
Next you've got your
paniculatas.
Yeah, paniculata.
Now paniculata is one that comes out pink, a little shade of pink, and then turns white and has a big head.
Yeah, so this one for pruning, this one blooms on new wood, and this is great because so this is actually going to put its buds on. The plant's going to decide where its blooms are going to be usually here in Zone 6A in April. Okay. And so it's going to decide in April. So if you have to prune this, you can prune it pretty much late fall, fall going on into early spring.
And you
So-
would prune it to determine the height that you wanted for the next year.
Now, your paniculatas, they love pruning. It actually makes them look much, much better.
More dense.
Exactly. So anywhere where you cut one stem, you're going to get 2 to 3 stems coming out of that. And so this will make a much fuller plant. Panicle hydrangeas, your bloom is on the end of the stem. And so the more stems you have, the more flowers you're going to have.
Okay, that's great information. It's different than the macrophylla, which blooms all throughout the stem.
Definitely.
The paniculata will bloom at the end of the stem. So it's important to prune that in the fall so that you have a denser plant for the next year.
Definitely.
This is the one that handles,
It goes from zone 3
But
to
cold
zone 8.
to hotter
Yeah.
than Hades.
Absolutely. And there's so many different varieties like we talked about, your Bobo, your Limelight, Little Lime Punch. There's so many of them.
And you can get them from 2 foot all the way up to
8 to 10
8
foot
to 10 feet.
at sometimes.
Okay.
Typically up to 8 foot, but like she was talking, she's seen them much larger than that.
All right.
Then you have your mountain hydrangea. This is Hydrangea serrata. So like we talked about earlier, this one's more native to like mountains in Japan and Korea.
Yeah, but we don't live there.
But it works really, really great here because what do we have? We're in Northwest Arkansas. We got hills everywhere with coverage. On your mountain hydrangea, this does best in a spot where maybe it gets maybe a couple hours of morning sun, but shade through the rest of that afternoon.
It seems to me a mountain hydrangea would give you that organic look. Let's say you have a
certainly.
big landscape and you want that organic look and a little color here, color there, right?
Yes.
In amongst the big trees and so forth. And to me, that just seems like it would be a good environment for
Now your mountain hydrangea is
And they need
mostly-
shade too, right?
Yes, and so this is like your lace cap. Some of them have a little bit fuller of a head, almost like mop head, but usually lace cap. Your mountain hydrangea is going to do bloom on new and old wood, and so a lot like your panicle hydrangea. If you need to trim this, you want to be trimming this one. This one more about late winter to early spring because it does set its blooms here around maybe April.
So is this another one that, well, why don't I trim it after I see that bud like I would the panicula? Is that what you're saying? Trim it like when you see the paniculata, trim right above that bud?
No, you can
just
do
in the
that.
fall?
Now this one I would kind of, if you're going to prune it, you just want to prune before it sets its bud in around April, if that makes sense.
All right.
So a great one is like your Tough Stuff Aha and your Let's Can
Let's Can Do.
Let's Dance Can Do. Yeah. That one is so great. That's the one we were talking about earlier. Let's Dance Can Do, Mountain Hydrangea. This is the one that will have keep reblooming. It's very, very, very tough. Okay. Another one that's kind of hard to kill. But your Let's Dance Can Do. This one is the one we're talking about. Will have the head of bloom on the end of the stem and also blooms going up the stem, which is completely different from most hydrangeas.
All right. Now the what? Annabelle?
Yeah, your smooth hydrangea. This is your hydrangea arborescens.
Why do you call it smooth hydrangea?
Because it's just a much smoother look. Maybe I'm not sure where they get the smooth
Is
part
it
from.
flat?
Somewhat. It's going to have kind of a nice round head. Now, this is the one that's native to North America. Is your Annabelle hydrangea? It's really the one that kind of started it all for most people here. But your this is a native variety, the one that I said I saw going out towards the lake. But they have some really good improved varieties. They started with like your Invincible. That one that was known for having really big heads on it, not flopping. And then they just came out with the Storm.
Okay, now that's the one I'm mostly impressed by.
Yeah.
Because when you have that big of a hydrangea head and it doesn't end up in the mud after a storm,
absolutely,
that's huge.
That's a big thing with hydrangeas because the weight of that flower. Now, your Annabelle hydrangeas. Let me get over here. Got notes here.
You're all messed up.
I am today. So this one blooms on old woods, sets their blooms late summer for the next year after they bloom. And so again, late summer, so you don't want to be really messing with this one a whole lot. If you've got to trim it, then maybe just trim the dead out of it. Doesn't like a whole lot of heavy trimming, so just keep that in mind. And then we've got...
She mentioned the Gatsby's and so forth. I really like the oak leaf hydrangeas.
Yes.
Because the foliage turns that burgundy red in the fall, right?
Yeah.
And they get huge.
Absolutely. So you're going to have like your Gatsby Gal, Gatsby Gal white, and then you have your
something moon.
Gatsby Gal pink. Now these ones stay a little bit smaller for oak leaf. If you like the oak leaf, this stays a little smaller. Your Gatsby Gal pink turns to that nicer pink color, kind of like a Ruby Slippers does, but also that bright red to burgundy red in the fall is unmatchable.
So you get the color from the bloom and the foliage.
Absolutely.
On your oak leaf.
Definitely.
Okay.
Definitely.
All right. Hey, that pretty much wraps it up on our hydration. Man, you did a good job.
Well, I appreciate it. Thank you, Sandy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, she saved my bacon.
Yeah.
Hey, folks, we appreciate you listening to us. Josiah, tell us where they can find us.
Yeah. So if you are, so you can find us on Audible, Amazon Music, Spotify, Pandora, iHeartRadio, pretty much anywhere where you can find a podcast. You can find us. Of course, here on YouTube. Here on YouTube is great because if you have questions, you can comment down below. We answer those questions on this. Also, you can also message us by going to rockwellfarms.com. You can leave us questions there as well. We love to answer you because it helps other people. And so, yeah.
Yeah, if you have the question, there's going to be 100 other people that have that same question.
Absolutely.
All right. Hey, folks, thank you for listening to Two Nuts on a Tree at the Rockwell Farms Garden Show, and we'll talk to you next week.
We'll talk to you later.